Hello again, guys. Today we are going to be continuing to talk about those exponent rules. This time we're actually going to be combining two of our exponent rules, the quotient rule as well as our negative exponents. So what's really cool about exponents and using all of these rules is that you're allowed to kind of use them as you see fit, and we'll talk about what that means here, okay? Let's jump into our first example. First up, we are going to have z to the negative 7th over z to the negative 8th. And we know right off the bat that we're going to be using that quotient rule. But we also see that we have some negative exponents over here. So we could go ahead and use the negative exponent rule right off the bat as well. However, if we were to turn z to the negative 7th into 1 over z to the 7th and then try to divide it by another fraction of 1 over z to the 8th, it would just get kind of tricky. You're not wrong if you want to do it that way, but we're going to go ahead and first use the quotient rule just to make our life easy. So let's go ahead and do that. Z to the negative 7th over z to the negative 8th, remember when we are dividing things with exponents, we subtract the numerator exponent from minus the denominator exponent. So let's go ahead and do that. So we have z to the negative 7 minus, now I want to make sure to include parentheses because you'll see we have double negatives right there, which all of us absolutely know that whenever we see a negative and a minus sign, we're going to end up adding those together. So it's going to end up being z to the negative 7th minus negative 8, which is the same thing as plus 8, okay? And we know that z to the negative 7 plus 8, negative 7 plus 8 is just z to the first, which we know is z, just a single z. So this kind of scary looking, quotient over here with a couple negative exponents just ends up being a single z, okay? This time we didn't even have to use our negative exponent rule, but in this next problem, we are going to have to use it. So let's go ahead and jump in there. Our next one is p to the negative 5th over p to the negative 2nd. Again, we can always start with using that negative exponent rule, but it's just going to make life a lot harder for you. So let's go ahead and use our quotient rule first. We know that p to the negative 5th over p to the negative 2nd is what the same thing as p to the negative 5th minus, remember to use those parentheses, that denominator exponent of negative 2, okay? Here, again, that minusing a negative number is going to end up with addition, negative 5 plus 2, where we end up with negative 5 plus 2 is going to be p to the negative 3rd power. Okay. Now, here is where, again, remember, we are never allowed to write our answers with negative exponents, okay? We always want to have a positive exponent, which is where we come in and we need to utilize that negative exponent rule. And it's the same thing like we've been doing in the last few videos. We're going to put 1 over p to the positive 3rd exponent. So here, we successfully utilized two different exponent rules, both our quotient rule and our negative exponent rule. Good job, guys. I will see you tomorrow.